Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of HopEUm. Today, I will be the main host as Trevor is currently in his wonderful honeymoon phase and he is enjoying the sun of I believe, Maldives. And he will be back with us very shortly for next week. So, thank you so much for having me, of course. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode from wherever you are, either on stream or from Spotify. So, to start off today's episode, we need to talk about what happened this last week. And to start off with this, we have to talk about the G2 fan prediction from episode 11. And we had our dear friend Yankos join in on the conversation, and he provided us some of his predictions against your predictions from the G2 fan Discord. And as the week played out, we had a couple differing responses as we got kind of an upset because I think Yankos predicted in the Navi vs GX series that GX was going to win. But at the end of the day, the fans took the prediction and they ended up winning 2-1. And for the other games, we of course had 2-0s across the board, but we will definitely be touching up on everything that has happened throughout the last week of LEC. And as I will be talking throughout today, I will be joined in by some beautiful guests that we have over from the G2 co-streamer side and a very special guest in Skyyart and Finn. So let's welcome them in. Hello, everyone. Welcome, as I am a fellow
Hello, hello, hello,
Australian.
hello. Hello.
Hi, audio's all good. Nice. Also, I love the red tree in the back, Skyyart. So, welcome, everyone. Let's get
Cute.
a quick introduction. So, Skyyart, welcome. How was your weekend?
Actually, very good. We had some crazy matches. I think my camera is not showing on the screen, but I think it's gonna be fine. And very happy to be here with you.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm sure the camera will work very soon. Hopefully, we
Sure.
can get that fixed ASAP. And of course, Finn, I heard today the weather in Berlin is quite nice. Is that true?
I wish I could give you an answer,
Have
but
you
you
gone
know me,
outside?
I'm a gamer. Do you think I go outside? I mean, that is just a bold assumption. I've been playing League of Legends all day, been grinding it, Challenger.
Hmm.
Just when I read that they're gonna reset all the ranks anyway for everyone that's Master Plus,
Oh
so
no.
yes, that was all in vain, but still quite exciting. You know, I haven't been able to play as much this season, and now with everything being reset, I think I will try to make a little bit of push to maybe prove to myself that I can still be a challenger player.
Hashtag not washed. Well, maybe the LP change will be different for Challenger because I think recently for EU specifically, Challenger just hit 2000 LP. You still
Yeah,
got it in the bag, Finn?
I'm not challenger right now. I think even Grandmaster is like 1.6k LP, which is
Oh,
back
Yes.
back when
Jesus.
I was coming up, I was 1.6k LP and I was rank 2 on the
Back in my
ladder.
day.
Yeah. So definitely there has been a bit of an inflation there, which seems to be worldwide anyway. So yeah, we'll hope it can be fixed quite soon.
Yeah, and for all the people
Yeah,
that
they try.
didn't hear about the LP reset, I believe it's only happening for a very specific amount of regions, including NA, EU, EU East, and Brazil, etc. Not every region because I'm OCE, I'm Australian, and
Oh.
OC is not getting reset, so I'm still going to be getting the same amount of LP gains. But of course, as we move on, let's talk about what happened throughout the week, guys. LEC weekly recap. So, there's been a lot of games throughout this week, and a lot of them were 2-0s. I don't know if we got to catch every single LEC series. I'm sure, Finn, I saw you on the desk. I hope you had a lot of fun covering the games and that there weren't too many technical issues. But let's start off with what happened at the start of the week, which was Navi vs GX. That one ended up being a 2-1. And honestly, GX losing to Navi, was that surprising, Skyyart?
I saw some people were actually surprised because actually GX had very good results, but to me Navy is a little bit better. Maybe not for the top lane, but I think for the rest of the game they are actually a very talented team. We saw some great performance from jungle support, jungle mid, and I think they have the potential to be one of the challengers in the playoff.
I mean, I
Okay.
agree.
What about
I
you,
mean, I
Fade?
agree quite candidly. I mean, I came into this series thinking that GX was gonna win because last time these two teams played was in the LEC versus playoffs, and
Mhm.
the GX ended up winning. But to me, like the big change that has shifted from versus to spring is the GX bot lane. I think they haven't really found really good form yet, and I feel like Samdi and Paris actually looked super good because I expected Reledge to look good. I expected Reledge to kind of outplay Isma and look good on his funny champions, you know, the Aatroxes, the Darkins that he likes to play, the Aatrox Zahen.
Zahen,
But
yeah.
yeah, but I feel like there's something happening in the bot lane of GX right now, and it feels like whenever you sneeze their direction, like whenever you send a little gank down there, they just kind of fall over and die. So to me, this is really what GX needs to fix because they really need to kind of lock in because they've got some difficult matches coming up.
Yeah, especially with all the roadshows that will be coming up for the LEC. And of course, with our title today is we had G2 get their 4-0 across the week. They got a 2-0 against SK, and then they also got a 2-0 against Shifters. Were they convincing series, and were they convincing wins for the side of G2 Skyyart?
To be honest, I didn't found the game to be that convincing. I mean, after first hand was truly amazing. I think G2 was playing at the top level, and maybe they try things because it's regular season. I don't know, but yeah, to me, the teams were not super great. I think SK Gaming and Shifters are not the best teams, so we are supposed to smash them. And in the game, it's sometimes very shaky, and sometimes we throw completely some moves. So we are better, and I think we can see it in the game. But if I can be a bit more specific, but I think it wasn't enough to be for the level that we need to have.
I mean, please do be more specific. What happened with G2
Okay,
over
yeah.
the weekend that you're not too happy with?
Personally, I'm not a fan of Yasuo against Gnar, but I think the matchup is very strong and BB is very good. But I highly prefer when he play like Shen against, Ambessa, I mean, the pocket picks, He played actually Yasuo against Naknako against Vitality. We will talk about it later, but I think Naknako handled the matchup very well. And I believe SK Gaming are trying composition, a bit weird composition, but maybe a bit bad composition. And I think Skewmon on this week play a bit less good, many games than he did in the first 10. In first 10, it was for playoff, and first 10 he was for me one of the MVP, or if not MVP. And like the last Nocturne game wasn't, I think, great. And yeah, for me it was a bit shaky.
And I would definitely agree, to be honest. But it's also this thing because now I've been working the broadcast for a bit, and I have to sit here every single season and watch G2 completely like be unconvincing for the entire regular season when I know coming into playoffs they're gonna be one of the best teams. And I have to sit there and be like, okay, you look bad against SK, you look shaky against Shifters. I mean, sure, they won this series, right? But considering the level that we expect G2 to show, wasn't really up to par. Like they got really pushed by SK in that game too, I think. And in general, it's such a hard thing to watch because I know that they will be great in playoffs. Like I can't sit there and say, "Oh, I'm worried for G2," because I am not worried for G2. This happens all the time, and
Yeah.
it's just frustrating because you know they are a lot better than what they're showing. And I agree with your point on Skewmond. It's so funny because like they asked a lot of the LCK pros who they thought the best non LCK LPL player was, and a lot of them said Skewmond. Like
Yeah, I saw that.
this man has the backing of like the top players in the world saying he's the best Western player. So we
Yeah.
hold him to a high standard, and that standard is not really being met by looking shaky versus Shifters and SK, who frankly are trains
Who
that
knows
are moving
who will be
into,
next, you
yeah,
know?
who knows, yeah.
Yeah. I also really like the fact that Skyyart brought up the Yasuo versus Gnar matchup because that's definitely become the theme for G2 when you do
Mhm.
face Gnar in the opposing draft. So, just from Finn's perspective, as you have so much top lane knowledge, please share us what you think about this Yasuo counter pick in the pro scene in Tier 1.
So the Yasuo into Gnar is first of all, it's a pretty selfish pick because usually when you pick Yasuo into Gnar, you're kind of kneecapping your entire team comp and saying that I need to get a big enough lead and have enough side pressure that the fact that we have a worse comp now because I picked Yasuo does not matter. Now, have BB been able to execute that? I would say no. I think in the Naknako game, he was actually really struggling in the 1v1. He was not looking that good until Naknako decided not to recall for like 3 minutes. If you want to go back and rewatch that. Then he just got over, and then it looked great. So I need to see BB really try to harness the early strength of this Yasuo pick a lot more if he's to continue to play it, or maybe start going in a different direction for an R answer that doesn't really hinder your comp. Because in the beginning, he would just pick Yasuo without any knockups on the team, just for the individual matchup. Now, this
Yeah.
weekend, when they did pick Yasuo, they actually adapted and started playing a little bit more engaged supports when they were looking for this Yasuo, which is a good adaptation. But in general, I've not been super convinced by BB's Yasuo. I feel like his laning is just not generating the leads that it should in a matchup like this for it to be worth it.
Ooh, let's see if G2 can convince you later down the line, because surely with the top lane meta, BB will cook. But let's talk about the other teams before we move on to champions. I do want to touch on Vitality getting a clean 2-0 against Giant X. Unfortunately, Giant X didn't win a single series across the week today. So, how hyped are we for Vitality this split? Because they're looking freaking good, Skyyart.
Yeah, actually, it's the only team I wasn't expecting to be that good, to be honest, at the beginning of the LEC, and I was interesting about Naknako, but not, to be honest, not about the rest of Vitality. I was like curious, I would say, and actually, I was super surprised at first by Naknako because he was even better than expected. But the rest of the team, even when Naknako struggle a bit, they show a lot of good talents. I mean, Linsas as well. I mean, he was very proactive in the game, and I think, to be honest, against, I mean, on a G2 perspective, I think her draft was not was I would say even a bit shit, to be honest. When we pick Zoe, pick 4, I think Zoe was very, to me, a very risky pick. I would say, because the Mundo open, and I mean, we can see the mentality of Naknako is the guy that wants to be able to crush the enemy team. So when they pick Mundo and Atrox, I think we are fucked. I don't think we can win the game if they play, I would say, a bit correctly, and I think we were in a bad spot. But I think it's fine. It's not the playoff. But to me, Vitality is a very great team. They play good League of Legends. It's the team that plays the most. When you check the heat map, it's like 60% topside. I'm a bot lane believer. I think camping bot lane to me is a better angle, but they have their own style and it works. So I can't. I have to admit that it's actually working very well. So I like watching a Vitality game actually.
Because for me personally, I also thought Carzy took me by surprise this week. I thought he had an amazing Caitlyn game. What about you, Finn? Do you have any players that's standing out for you specifically on Vitality?
I mean, I kind of agree with Skyyart in the fact that because we kind of know what Naknako, Humanoid, and Carsey can do. Like we've seen them on good and bad teams, but the fact that Linces and Fleshy especially has like elevated themselves to their level in this manner, I think is incredible to see. To me, like the main engine of Vitality right now is that support jungle synergy, and as well when Carsey gets Caitlyn, I think it's 5-0 on it right now in the LEC. I don't think he's lost a single game on it yet. I could be wrong. Maybe there was one game I missed. But in general, he's every single time he picks Caitlyn and they go like a range support for Fleshy, it's just constant lane domination into Carsey being super fine isolated, and then Fleshy links up with Skymon and just makes magic. No, Skymon, Linsas, I mean. Links up with Linsas and just makes
Both great
magic happen on
junglers.
the. Yeah, so many great junglers. So the fact that Nako is not like the only threat, I think frees him up so much as well, because now you see him pick these selfish champions. He played a Quinn into Renekton, which I was a
Oh,
little
I
bit
saw that.
disappointed. I was a little bit disappointed because I'm used to
Yeah.
the shy Quinn into Renekton, and he goes like 0-10 on that. So I was ready for some volatile
Love that
action.
Teemo. It's just Quinn top lane.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
but he actually had a super solid game. He didn't die a single time. Just kept farming, kept playing the map well, which was impressive. But come on, man, show us show us the
It wasn't a
depths.
stomp.
No.
No. Well, I guess talking about stomps, we also have to touch on MKOI 2-0 against Heretics, and also KC, who had a 2-0 against SK. I'm honestly a little bit geeked out about the LEC schedule because KC have barely any games, but then all of their games have been very convincing wins. So out of these two powerhouses, because we always talk about KC versus MKOI, who's going to be the stronger team in the playoffs, who's going to make it to the international, out of these two teams, who do you think will go the furthest in the LEC playoffs, Finn?
Look, it's very hard not to say KC. KC are looking so good every single game. I think they are just so good. They, on average, at 14 minutes, they had 200 gold. 200 tiny gold pieces at 14 minutes. At 20 minutes, they're on average ahead around 2 to 2.5k gold. Like that burst of like gold income from 14 to 20 just shows how good they are at mid game, how good they are at playing the map, working together, setting up these objectives, creating fights. And I feel like that's where they're unmatched right now in the LEC, because all of LEC play a messy mid game, except for KC. And as someone that wants to believe in Koi, that has really a big, like my heart goes out to Koi, but right now they are just looking shaky. It's the public interviews from Melset putting pressure on the players. It's the weird throws. They're getting caught out constantly. The desynchronization of the roster just seems to be there, and Casey's just looking far stronger right now.
Fair enough.
I
What about you,
definitely agree.
Skyyart?
I definitely agree. I think Koi is a little bit shaky at the moment. Compared to what we were expecting to be at the beginning of the winter. And I think Casey, they don't play often, but when they play, it's very quick. I mean, it's a speedrun. So in 22 minutes, the game is definitely over. And they are actually very good at finishing with the Baron as well. They are winning most of the lanes. So it's not that hard to play, I would say, for Yike. But even Yike, I mean, his corner, the moves was amazing yesterday. He's very, very sharp. And what to say about, I mean, Kana is, to me, Kana is a monster. And his Vayne, we can talk about the Vayne pick, but I think when you pick Vayne, you have to be very sharp. It's a I prefer maybe Vayne than Yasuo against Gnar, because I think Gnar is very, very hard in the very early game, and the champion is a win condition. I think it's a less handicap than a Yasuo in your team, just like Finn said before. I think Vayne can be a good option for the teams that play well with it, and I think Kana did an amazing job, and I believe he will do it again.
I love your point about the Vayne, and that actually leads perfectly into what I wanted to discuss about today, as we've been getting a lot of weird champions. So let's go into our discussion time for today's podcast. I've been on champion spotting again, and there is this little champion that's creeping up in the presence, in specifically top lane, as Skyyart was saying earlier. Vayne top has become the most played counter into Gnar across the world, with the most recent Vayne top being played by KC Kana, and the overall stats will be sitting on 53.8% win rate, 7 wins, 6 losses global. And Finn, I know you have a lot to say about this Vayne pick, so please, what do you think about the meta going this way?
Those poor solo queue top laners. Like the fact that what they're gonna have to go through now, it's just so sad. Because I played a solo queue game today. I saw Tryndamere being picked, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pick a tank into Tryndamere, just like buy a bunch of armor. But then I see the Tryndamere being flexed mid, and there's an exhaust Vayne top spawning in my lane. I went 0-10, and I think like it was almost as bad as the Niski game, because the way like I
Oh,
ran
the
that
Nisky game.
the way I think I deserve to be banned for that game. I could not play that game, and the fact that Vayne top is meta just frustrates me so greatly because there's no more frustrating champion to play against. I saw that Gnar versus Vayne laning phase. He was hugging his tower. Vayne crashed the third wave with 19 CS. The moment that wave crashed against Wunder's Gnar, 0 CS. He got 6 out of the 19 CS on the first 3 waves, and it wasn't nothing better happened after that. And I just hate Vayne top so much. Like it's like Varus top, but you can't even go on him. You can't really gank it either because she's gonna 1v2 you with exhaust. And I think it's a problem. I think it's kind of starting to show now that Vayne top maybe needs a little bit of tuning. Maybe that's just what I'm saying because I'm a top laner, but in general, it's looking really, really, really strong. And it's a worrying trend as a European going into internationals when a champion like Vayne is meta because I have a lot of faith in players like Zeus, Doran, Keen to play Vayne. I don't have as much faith in our top laners to pilot to Vayne.
Technically, Keen played Vayne top against G2 at first stand. Do you remember his Vayne game where he tumbled into G2's team and he
Oh
threw
yeah,
the game?
on the bot
It was
side,
into-
on bot
Yeah,
side
yeah,
dragon,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe Keen's Vayne, he probably put in hours, especially with Vayne top being the main counter to Gnar these days. But I do want to also ask, is Vayne top lane strong, or is it the Hexplate Vayne in particular that is strong at the moment? Or is just Hexplate OP on every single AD carry that can go top lane at the moment?
I don't think it's Hexplate.
Yeah, I don't think as well. I think a little nerf to Hexplate will keep the same. To be honest, I was playing sometimes Vayne several years ago. So Finn, you can insult me already, bro. No, I'm chilling. yeah. Sometimes you don't deserve to have friends in real life. But yeah, I know. I think actually Zeus played Vayne, even played like Zeri top. So I think Zeus will play Vayne on a competitive side because I feel like Vayne, even if she plays weak side, with a Ghost, for example, or sometimes with Exhaust, depending on the matchup, she can pretty much handle the pressure. If she has the push always, even if she dies, she will basically lose a bit of her lead, but she will anyway reach 2 and 3 items and the champion will be very strong. And I feel, just like Finn said, when the guy has 0 CS against 18 against 19, how do you not lose? I mean, I think it's brain damage, you know. It's going to the game, it's BO3, you destroy his mantle, you dive him 1 or 2 times, and then it's 0-7. I mean, you can. So I feel Vayne is strong, but just like Finn, I agree with him. To me, a champion, I mean, a player like Zeus, I trust him more in Vayne than Broken Blade, I would say, for G2. So sorry for BB. I love his Chen, but I feel like champions like this can be a bit annoying if it comes to the meta too much. It can be a problem at MSI.
I mean, one thing that I love that you said, actually, if I can bounce on that a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
It's the fact that you said that Vayne is a weak side, and that is so true. Because usually when you have these ranged top laners, you are expected to send everything top. Gank top, dive top, support open top, AD carry open top, mid lane open top, open up a camp top. But Vayne just needs one thing, and she can just play completely 1v2 the entire game, and that's one ward from her jungler. As long as you get that one ward to cover you when your ward is a downtime, you are completely safe. And that is what makes her so frustrating as well, because you can't shut it down like you normally would with Vayne. It's not like, oh, we're gonna take dragon bot side, so we can't contest dragons, so we're gonna go up and collect a free kill on the ranged top laner. No, you can't. She's too agile. You can't shut her down. But like, it's so much easier to play around the Vayne top because you just need that one ward, and she is so self-sufficient, and that's what makes it so frustrating as well, because it's a weak side, strong side demon right now.
Yeah. I would just bounce again. Actually, T1, I mean, now was played against T1, and I mean, Kerio was playing Pyke, and he came 3 times top. He destroyed the game of Vayne. Like, it was a bit I mean, it was a bit sad because the Vayne couldn't do anything. But the Vayne won actually, because after she gets some items, even if she is behind 500 gold, it's still a Vayne. So later in the game, she will still be a threat. I mean, destroying the game of a Vayne entirely isn't that enough, even if she is 0-3. So I feel the champion is to me a better answer than Yasuo.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we're getting top 3 times. You're gonna win side lane now, right? Right? You're gonna have side push, right?
Team.
We sent 15 ganks to you. You're gonna win side, right? And then the 0-7 Vayne rolls up, just pushes side like a maniac, and just goes crazy. It's so.
I mean, that's literally what Carrier did, right? Because he was pretty much winning the whole game for T1.
Yeah.
3 lanes, 1 support, and a freaking dream. And I think low key the Vayne on the opposing team, which is DK, ended up 2-7 as his ending score. It was really, really rough for the Vayne, pretty much from start to basically the last 5 minutes. However, I do want to kind of pick apart your brains here because I watched an LPL game and it was Top Esports versus BLG, where we had this new rookie top laner called Zuyan, and he was playing the Vayne of the Gnar matchup, and Bin was on the receiving end. And we all know that Bin might be the most mechanically talented top laner in the current LoL esports pool. And what he figured out was, if I go Gnar, I could go a cloth armor and 4 pots with Halo Blades to maybe upstand this Vayne early game. It didn't work out because the Vayne got ganked and it is what it is. But I just wanted to ask Finn, because you've been on the receiving end of this Vayne champ, how can you at least survive lane or win against Vayne if you are ever in a dire situation?
Can you really do that? No, I mean, there are for sure ways. I think Cloth Armor and Hail of Blades Gnar is a bold strategy. I remember Bin did this 2022 as well into some matchups. I can't remember which matchup it was, but I remember seeing him play Hail of Blades Gnar.
Okay.
I think it was Renekton maybe he did this into with free Cloth, because Renekton was the same, right? Into Gnar early game it's tough. He dashes in, chunks you down with Q, and then goes for the all-in. So he went like Hail of Blades with Cloth Armor to kind of combat that. So it's an old thing that he's been doing for a long time now. But so if you play Gnar into Vayne, yeah, good luck. I think you probably need bone plating, and one thing I would do, because the hardest part about that matchup is the first waves, right? The Vayne will try to zone you from your own casters and just push you off. So you can play a little mind game, and you can like come through the river when the minion, like when your casters minions are about to die, the Vayne is standing there waiting for you to hit you between your tower and your casters.
Hiding
So
on
if you
bush.
sneak, if you sneak from the river, go up, Q, and then run all the way around, at least you can get the melees, and that will make your first wave a little bit easier. Now, if she predicts this and puts a ward in the river bush, well played to her. Well played to her. She's too good. 07. But in your solo queue games, you can probably get away with it. Against pro players, yeah, if you play against a pro player Vayne and you play Gnar, just pray. Go bomb plating. Just try to get the first melee's XP, because when you miss those 3 melee's XP, that really sets the tone for the lane, because it's gonna be so hard to come back. She's gonna have such a big XP advantage, and it's gonna be super hard for you to find an all-in timer. A strat that used to be fun into Vayne as Gnar that I would not recommend in pro play, but if you want to try it in solo queue, is really fun, is to rush Edge of Night. Why would you rush Edge of Night on Gnar? Because
Okay, sell me on this.
Because Vayne has one spell that can proc Edge of Night. Her E.
Okay.
So when you have Edge of Night on Gnar, you go Mega, usually what happens in this matchup is you go Mega Gnar, you want to jump on the Vayne, she E's you out. Spaces you, and your game is really sad. You're crying. You cannot reach her. So when you rush Edge of Night, you stack your Mega, and then you just jump on Vayne, and just do your full combo, the Q, W, R, E, preferably into a wall, if you have the option. And you can like kind of burst her down, because she is squishy still. She will probably rush the Storm Racer or the X-Tech thingy thing. So it can work in solo queue if you get it. Now the problem is just getting to Edge of Night without being minus 1 billion gold.
Yes,
But yeah,
and she will exhaust you as well.
yeah, I mean, in general, yeah, if she goes exhaust, you just pray your team has your back. In general, against Vayne top, you just gotta pray that like you have a Kiana mid or something, or like a Jarvan that is very kind and benevolent that just roams up and helps you, because by yourself you cannot do much.
Oh,
Realistically.
Twisted Fate coming. Oh, nice.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
That would be the dream. Until she goes
It is
cleanse,
a
so just want
team
me
game,
to.
I guess, at the end of the day. But I do also want to bounce off Skyyart mentioning Karya's Pike game. We had a kind of weird week for T1 over in the LCK, where T1 versus KRX. KRX, for all the people that don't know back at home, they are rebranded. Before they were known as DRX, the team that won Worlds back in 2022 with the Deft Miracle Run. So that is the new KRX. And they had a weird week, losing to DK 1-2. They low key threw that game 3. We were just talking about it, how Carrier was pretty much 1v5. Like, if a support could carry, that was DK versus T1 Carrier game 3. Unfortunately, didn't pull through because I think T1 their soul laners are looking a little bit weird, and then you have T1 versus KRX where game 2 wasn't too convincing either. So what's happening over there in the LCK Skyyart?
I will be deadly honest. I think some picks. I'm not a fan of some picks. For example, for me, Pike is a risky pick, and when you are T1, I believe you are better than DK. So going for these risky picks for me is a bit is taking a risk of getting just outscaled, and the game will be easier for them. Basically, okay, they have Mel, they have Aurora, but after early game, the Gnar against the Vayne will do nothing. And actually, what happened is the Vayne, which was so behind, just low key on Aurora, and Faker got destroyed literally against a 20% HP Vayne, because 20% HP Vayne is a full life Vayne. You can't eat her anymore if you don't have spell, and she will kill you in 5 hits. And to me, I want to discuss about this as well, but it's less about T1. But I want to ask Finn one thing. Do you think Jace is super OP or not? Because the champion is literally contested every single game. And to me, it's a little bit overrated as a blind pick. I was preferring Gnar, but like the game on T1, this game, Gnar against Vayne was one of the issues I think in the game, because even if Showmaker played very well, is Annie. I think the game, later on in the game, how do you kill Corki, Vayne, if they play correctly? I think it's tough.
Yeah, so I think we're in a position right now in top lane where we are kind of fucked blind pick wise, because we used to blind pick what? Rumble is still one of the best blind picks.
Yes,
but that is usually banned or it's gone early via Fearless, right? So when Rumble is out, realistically, what do you blind pick? Let's go for the courses. K'Sante, Sion. Little bit risky. K'Sante is not looking too hot right now. It's losing a lot of games globally. It's a no bueno from me. Sion still does work as a blind pick, but also doesn't do that much. I mean, I do think Sion has kind of gone down as a blind pick prior, just because how annoying the Ambessa matchup can be, just giving Ambessa a free matchup. Speaking of Ambessa, tough to blind as well. Has been blinded a few times. So what has happened in Korea is that we don't know what to blind. Okay, let's just go back to just blind OP champions that just win lane. The Varus.
And all else fails.
Yeah. The Varus, the Jace has risen in prio so much.
Yes.
Just because it's just so good to blind the champion that can also win lane. Otherwise, when you blind, basically when you're playing blind pick top, you're locked to a losing game state unless you blind these champions. So would you rather have a better comp, or would you have a top laner that can play the game and can actually like impact the game positively? That's kind of the conundrum a lot of the teams are in right now as a top lane picks go. I do like that we have started to see some really cheeky counter picks into the range top laners, like the Naafiri into Varus. I think was absolutely phenomenal as an answer. Flounder played it. I don't think Perfect won with it, or did he? I remember he played it.
No, I think he played very bad, but I think he failed W, etc. So you failed 2 all in and you are screwed basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I think it was a very good matchup, and my chat told me that LPL did it already at that time.
It's a
but I
flounder
didn't saw the
pick.
game.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Flounder plays everything, so I don't know how much you can take from that.
Well, I guess talking about Flandre, they are over in the LPL, and I wanted to discuss, since we have been pretty much Split 2, we've been starting Split 2 for low-key a month now. I wanted to ask our two guests, with MSI coming up in another month, let's give our shallow predictions on different regions and give a very, very, very general outline on who we're thinking of sending over to Korea. And let's see what we have for that. So I will start first because I am currently covering the LCP and the LPL. So the LPL, I think it's a dead giveaway that BLG will probably go to MSI as the first seed. However, the second seed right now is kind of up for grabs. And the problem with that is because AL are playing bad. The meta is really rough for them without lane swapping. They're getting super exposed. Like their bot lane 2v2 cannot play the game anymore for some reason. And number two, you also don't really have the JDG that was incredibly strong in Split 1. They're still doing their post first stand hangover, looking a little bit shaky. But a new challenger, well, not really new challenger, has approached us, and it's Tapo Esports. I'm sure my international viewers know this name. Top Esports really now. I'm going to super convinced if they will make the run for the rest of Split 2 because they got some roster changes. Their top laner changed to Tsui, and 369 is currently benched. And Jackie Love, your boy Jackie Love is back, and for some reason he went from the KDA of 0.22 in his first two first best of threes to pretty much getting triple kills, quadra kills throughout the game, and rose back pretty much. So I think LPL, BLG, Top Esports will be my guess. And for the LCP is looking a little bit weird this year because, as we know, CFO had their miracle run in 2025. Rest in peace, my oysters. I don't think we're ever getting that alteration or iteration of CFO ever again. And we already saw Secret Whales. They were the LCP representatives for First Stand, and they're probably not going to be moving anytime soon. I think they are still the most dominant team over in LCP. Second seed will probably be DCG. DCG is kind of a newer addition to the LCP. They are a representing team from the PCS, and they were placed second. And I still think they're convincingly second until we get maybe more roster swaps in the second half of Split 2, because I know some teams are still adjusting their rosters. I'm aware that Skyyart, of course, LCK, what do we think for MSI?
I think in LCK the top teams are now beatable. I feel like HLE T1 and Genji. I mean Genji after losing against G2, it's a trauma. It's a trauma. They are not winning any games now. So I mean they look a bit shaky, and I think Canyon isn't performing as he should. Maybe sometimes. And I think also Keen. I love Keen. I mean, for me, Keen is amazing. It was, it was just good every single game, and even against us in first 10, as you said, Kitty, he didn't play that well, and good for us. I mean, good for us, but still. To me, I think HLE is looking very good. Zeka is an absolute beast at the moment. I hope they go to MSI because I was a bit sad when Guma swapped with Viper because HLE has some issues, I would say. And now they start to be very strong because Kanavi, who has a very aggressive playstyle, maybe sometimes he invade without any prio. It's surprising, but sometimes it doesn't work. Now they try to make it work better, and actually it's working. So HLE looks, for now, to me, very strong. So I will go for HLE and I will go for T1 because it's T1 and yes.
That's a hot take.
Yes,
Ooh.
yes, yes.
I'm
I'm a
excited for
fanboy a
HLE.
bit.
I'm excited to see HLE. They're one of my favorite teams to watch. I just love how active they are, how crazy they
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
To me, I have like my favorite teams from every region. Like for me, my big LCK favorite is HLE, and sadly, as you say, Kitty, AL is not looking that hot anymore. I
Mhm.
love watching AL play. I
Yeah.
think to me they are so good at team fighting, but they haven't really been able to get to that part yet anymore.
Yeah,
But they,
they're
because to me,
struggling.
like, what I was doing a lot of VOD reviewing last year, and I was like, which team do I think is the best team fighting team in the world? And to me, like AL just like stuck out so hard. The way they navigate team fights, the way they commit as a unit, and the way they dance around, I think is so beautiful to see. So I'm kind of cheering for AL. I kind of hope they will make it because I'm a big Flandre fan as well. But still, from LEC, it's a hard guess right now. It's not a hard guess. The guess is easy.
Oh, I
Yeah.
wonder which team's gonna go to internationals representing LEC, guys. What
The
podcast are we on?
the
Finn,
the
if you don't say the team, you're kicked, by the way.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
clearly
you're
gonna
thinking about
be
shifters, right?
there's I mean
Shifters.
I was thinking I was thinking shifters in case he might make it. No,
Y-
I mean realistically right now I would say all the evidence, like if I was a betting man I would say all the evidence is looking like it's gonna be G2 and KC realistically, absolutely realistically, but that does not mean that it's not going to be a huge toss up about who actually levels up in playoffs. Because playoffs
Mm.
is quite a long time from now, and we all know that teams' forms they waver. A team that is dominant in the beginning of the season is not always dominant in the playoffs. So to me, that is going to be the big test. Everyone wants to see Vitality internationally. I would love to see Naknako versus Bin, Zeus, Keen. See how he holds up, because to me he is our hope and top lane savior that we've been waiting for so many years. Sorry, I couldn't do
Agree.
it, but at least he can do it maybe. So that is to me really exciting. To me, like that toss up between KC, G2, Vitality, and potentially Koi. Now we know what Koi can do. Jojipyun is absolutely amazing. I would say
Yes.
Jojipyun is the second best or maybe third best player in the league. I think it's Caps, Jojipyun, and Naknako. But to me, like I think Jojipyun is above Knack almost, just because how dominant he is in lane. He's just finding leads every single game while not playing any solo queue at all, just playing ARAMs and watching VODs, which
Oh,
is
really?
baffling. Um,
He's waiting for the
frankly,
LP reset. I get it. I get it. Don't worry.
I
I get
Ah,
it.
it was playing
smart.
it was playing the long con. Yeah, I don't know if he's even master right now. We checked the solo queue accounts unless he has some secret ones. But yeah, it's gonna be a super cool race between these two top four teams. I do not expect GX and Navi to be in this competition, but you never know. But to me, I want to see who goes between Vitality, KC, and G2, because to me those are the three main candidates right now from LEC.
I also miss KC at the international because the last time we got to see KC was 2025 First Stand, and that
Yes.
was the first iteration of First Stand where the
Mm.
format was a little bit scuffed, the teams were really limited, and we didn't get to see the full potential of KC, to be honest. And Hanolife pretty much was the definite winner, so it's going to be a really
Mm.
rough grand finals anyway. However, I think what Skara said, Gen G might not make an international question mark. What's going on
Mm.
with Gen G? Why are they struggling so hard when they were the team to go on, was it a 22 or 23 series win streak back in 2025 when none of the players changed?
Yes, actually, they break every records, but it's records against them. Like I think it was 16 BO3 that Deca lost against Chovy, and
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
true.
they every teams were never losing, never winning against them. Now just win. And about LEC, I would be agree. I think in the regular season, I think KC is looking the strongest. But just like Finn said, I think G2 will pop up a lot in playoff. So I'm a bit, I would say I'm confident about G2 KC. But just like you said, I would be curious about Vitality as well. And I would prefer Vitality than Koi just because we already saw them and maybe they will qualify to Worlds. So I would go for KC and G2 in LEC as well. Safe
Ooh,
pick.
okay.
Safe pick.
Safe
No,
pick.
not
Yeah, I mean it is
not risky.
objectively
Not risky.
it's objectively the correct guess because from
Yes.
all we've seen, I think it's the most logical explanation. I'm also curious about Genji because I have a theory about why Genji is bad, and to me it goes
Okay.
with the meta shifts. I First of all, I'm a little bit surprised because they don't seem that good at playing with enchanters, which is kind of the meta right now. The meta has been a big
Mhm.
shift from these engage supports to enchanters.
Mhm.
And to
Mhm.
me, this kind of hinders their support jungle synergy a little bit. I feel like they actually haven't adapted very well to the meta because it's very different getting vision when you play with a big bulky Nautilus that just is walking in front, or a Braum or whatever, compared to like a cute little Nami or a little Karma that just sits in the back and has to wait for her jungler to walk in first. And I was surprised because when I thought about Ruler, I of course think about 2017 Worlds. I of course think about Ardent sensor meta and him just dominating because he was the absolute best right clicker of any player in the world at that time. So I would expect them to not be this bad in an enchanter meta. And I'm a little bit surprised. But to me, the fact that they actually haven't found their footing means that they still have a lot to learn because you cannot predict the meta. You need to be able to play every style, and maybe right now Gen G's weaknesses are kind of showing through in that regard.
And actually, that just reminded me because some of the Genji, I think it was Genji Keen, he said that Skymon is the best Western player in his personal opinion,
Mhm.
and it was alongside Lucid from DK. I saw the other two people, and they actually voted Inspired, and they're both jungle players, and they're both European jungle players. So honestly, from your personal perspective, Skewmon versus Inspired, who do you favor more on the international stage? Ah, Finn's face is all scrunched up. I'm sorry to pick you,
It's,
have you choose your babies. I'm so sorry. Okay, start Skyyart.
it's
Come on,
yeah.
save Finn a little bit before he like
So
starts suffering.
so Skew against Inspired, right?
Yes.
I loved Inspired last year. I feel like the recent events. I mean, I think G2 is the best team, so it's easier to have the best team when you are a jungler. But to me, Skewmon looks much more creative and much more dominant in the games, and he was dictating the game. In the international event, I think Skewmon was amazing, and with the pressure that he has to receive, it's pretty new, and I will go for Shimon. Maybe it was just the best days, because against the last game, I think it was SK Gaming with Nocturne. It was not so good. I mean, going into a Nanivia with a plant was not the best idea he had. But I feel he has the genius, the genius moves that he needs to still improve and be even more dominant. So I will go to Human. But maybe I'm biased because I'm French. Maybe.
I mean, it's a tough
A
call
little
to
bit.
make because these they're like two amazing players, absolutely amazing, and I'm just salty that the Americans have stolen Inspired because I would love to have seen Skewmond and Inspired go head to head for an entire year in the same region. I think that would really elevate the other junglers. Because imagine you're like a ERL jungler looking at like how Skewmond and Inspired play against each other. I think you can learn so much from that. I actually think Inspired is a little bit better, but I
Ooh.
can't like base that. I mean, I can't base that on facts, just because I think Inspired is doing a lot more with less. I think the fact that Inspired has dragged this
I,
Lyon team to first place to internationals and still managed to look so good compared to Skewmond, who has very good pieces around him. Skewmond is a fantastic player,
Mhm.
but regionally he has very strong pieces. He has Broken Mid and Caps as his solo laners, Hansama bot lane. Like he has so many, and even Labrov has leveled up massively. I think he has great pieces. Meanwhile, despite Inspired calls the entire games by himself. Like Inspired is the man with the staff in the orchestra that just tells players how to move. That entire team is formed around Inspired's playstyle, and he makes it look so effortless when he plays. His team fight IQ, his just all the decision makings he has, I think, is just pristine. I will say about Inspired, he can be a bit of an hassle to deal with. I played with him for 2 years, so I know how he is as a person. Is a very charming little fellow, but I do think when it comes to pure gameplay, I will actually give the edge to Inspired.
Okay, we have one for Schema and one for Inspired. I honestly feel terrible. I just realized I put two kings up against each other, and now I feel really bad because I think they're both amazing in their own ways. Of course,
They
Yuan
are.
still
Yeah,
being
of course, of
a little
course, of
bit
course.
more new on the international stage, and we know what Inspired is capable of, as he pretty much carried FlyQuest over to a bunch of internationals plus his Lion team, as mentioned as well. But talking about the future of these games, I want to bring up the LEC Week 6 KC Roadshow preview. And that's going to be in Body, everyone. So, wahoo! Paris Roadshow time. I'm really happy that LEC is doing a bunch of these roadshows. I think it's so good for the fans. I love it. I don't know if Skyyart's going to go to the Paris games, but I'm aware that there's going to be 3 different days of games. And let's go through each single series individually. First of all, we have Shifters versus Fnatic, followed by Navi versus KC. Then we have Fnatic versus Navi, followed by KC versus Shifters. And on the final day, we have Shifters versus Navi and KC versus Fnatic. It's a KC home ground event. It's hosted by KC, so they're going to be the most busy team as they haven't played that many games. But do we have anything that we are anticipating for the upcoming roadshow, Finn? Because I am aware that you're going to Body.
I'm definitely going there. I'm very excited for it. It's always very, very fun going to France. I can still practice my French a little bit.
Oh,
But
oui?
oui.
Okay, one word?
Oui, j'ai pas le français.
Oh, wow, okay.
J'ai
Wow,
étudié
what the fuck?
pendant l'école.
Non, mais
6 ans.
français!
6 ans, 6
It's
ans.
good. Actually, it's good.
C'est pas mal, mais le vocabulaire, c'est un peu mauvais maintenant. But yeah, the roadshow I'm excited for, just because it kind of feels like a KC victory lap. If I'm gonna be honest,
Okay.
I just think Casey's
More
gonna
for
run
the
every
blue
single.
wall to celebrate over.
I'm excited for Casey stomping all these teams. I'm excited for the crowd going absolutely crazy for every single play. I do expect Casey to dominate in their own roadshow, seeing the opposition they're up against. Now, what I am excited about, and something that a lot of people are passionate about, is Fnatic. Because Fnatic, what is going on? Are we actually just a bottom team right now? Are we actually just that bad? Because I looked at their schedule
Why is
actually.
bro saying we?
Like Europe. I mean, Fnatic is
Oh,
part of
okay.
European history.
Okay.
No,
It's part of European
Fnatic's
history.
fallen.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at their schedule, and right now Fnatic is gonna play Shifters, which is very
Yeah.
winnable. Navi, winnable. They have KC, tough. They have Heretics, winnable. Vitality, tough, but maybe doable. And I think this roadshow could be a great momentum builder for Fnatic, going up against Shifters and Navi. If they can actually pick up some wins here, maybe they actually have what it takes to make a little bit of a playoff race, to actually contest for the playoffs and build a little bit of that confidence they need going into the playoffs. Because right now they are just looking grim. Sure, they beat G2, but it's regular season G2, so does it really count? And in general, they have looked very shaky. So to me, that is kind of what I'll be tracking a lot this KC Roadshow. Like, how will Fnatic do? Are they just bad, or do they have glimpses of brilliance still? Because to me, this roster just hasn't really come together just yet.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to be great, to be honest, and I wasn't really. I'm not a fanatic fan on the team. I don't really believe they will be good. I think they will be shifters, actually, but I mean, it won't be enough.
Win's a
So
win.
yeah, a win is a win. Yes, I think Casey Navy will be a pretty good match. And I think, yeah, just like you said, I think Casey Shifters gonna be. I mean, Casey fans gonna be happy. I can think, I can see it coming at least.
I mean,
Or that-
Navi currently, because they are versing KC soon, I'm just quickly looking at the match list for Navi. They are currently 4-1, so they're
Yeah.
not gonna be pushovers. what if we get a surprising series? Because I do think that is going to be our closest series throughout the weekend over in France.
Absolutely. And to me, what is the coolest part about this matchup is actually that Village reminds me a lot of a rookie Yike. Because when Yike came in, he was playing all these crazy champions, high invade playstyle, really made himself the star of the team, and kind of rallied all of G2, which was filled of veterans, around him. And now Relish has kind of done a similar thing in Navi, where he has kind of made himself this main character. You saw that game one against GX, how it looks when he's not the guy kind of dictating the game. You kind of saw what happens when he's not showing off. But when he is, he dropped a 13 kill bomb on Zahen in an LEC game. That is insane. To me, the jungle matchup in the KC Navi will be so cool, because I really want to see how, if they're gonna be at each other's throat, like is Relish gonna invade Yike and Yike's gonna invade back. I do think that when it comes to the laners, Casey has a clear edge. Like,
Yeah.
I don't expect Mainter to. I mean, Mainter playing against Kana is really hype as well, because Mainter was the KC Academy top laner for a long time.
I was
Low
going to say.
Kana. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you probably know more about it than me, so you can take.
It's fine. It's fine. No. You can continue.
Yeah. Okay. So Mainter was playing below Kana, and I'm sure he always looked at Kana as like, this is the guy I need to beat. I want to join KC main team. I need to beat Kana and show that I'm better than him. In the end, he didn't end up joining KC main team. But for now, if he can actually beat Kana in Kana's home crown, like in Kana's home, behind the home crowd in France, he can really show them up and say, look, you had me, but you lost me. And to me, that's a super cool storyline as well. I think Mainter is going to be absolutely pumped going into this weekend.
Yeah, I think you're right. I've commented the LFL, so I saw Mainter's game. He was super dominant in the LFL, actually. But to me, Kana is, for me, to another level. He was pretty unlucky, actually, because if Kana was in KC, he would have more chance to be in the main team. But
can I jump in fast?
Yeah.
Really short. When I was a pro top laner and I was coming up, that's just when the academy teams were introduced, and I made it my goal to join the academy team with the worst main team top laner.
Okay.
So I could actually get the promotions, because I think Mainter, as you're saying, like he was playing in an academy team, was the best ERL top laner, but it was below Kana, so he was just unlucky. There was nothing he could do. I'm sorry for interrupting, but I think it's so accurate. It's so accurate.
Yeah, so I think it was very unlucky, and sometimes it is what it is, and as you say, he will try to prove himself. But for me, Mainter was looking way less good, I would say, than Kana, who is looking just an absolute beast. I mean, he can first blood lot with Rumble against a Horn level 3. He can first blood. I mean, the last game he first blood level 3 again against Rumble against a Sion. He has more damage. I think he cheated and he has more damage. I think there is something is just too good. He's just too good. So last time I feel that Navy against KC. I mean the first. I mean he had Atrox and he tried. He was a bit cocky. I think he was going 1v3 against KC. Like Rilesh has some. I mean the aggressivity to just. I will prove them. I will beat them. But to me, he will be a bit more cautious this time, and I hope he will go for some Zahen or Hatrox pick and try to prove that he has, I would say, the courage to do it in front of the blue crowd. I think the crowd will cheer a lot for Casey and a bit less for Navy.
Oh my god. The blue wall crowd chills, absolute cinema. I do also want to talk about Casey, furthering your points. What do you guys think about Busio so far? It's been a good 4 or 5 months now. Are we loving Busio? We steal the NA talent over. Did you guys know, fun fact, Busio is the youngest support in the LEC at 22 years old. I think it's slightly older than the other roles for youngest player, but he is still the youngest player.
Okay. Support player a bit older then.
It's actually bizarre how good he is. Like I haven't seen a support player be so dominant. Lucio, like the way he plays, it's like every single click he does is just the correct click when he's playing in Europe. I'm just starstruck when I watch him play. Like I want to play support and
You're in
just not
love. Oh
review
my god, chill
Busio.
there, Finn.
No, like he's way too good. And it's the only thing we can have because they took Inspired, but we have Busio and Jojo like this now. So
True.
he's actually amazing. Like what a fantastic player and so well spoken as well. Such a great personality. We're very lucky to have him.
Yeah,
You know who else we're
he's
lucky
very
to have on
dominant.
the broadcast? Oh, Scar, I'm gonna pause
Oh,
you for a
no.
second. I'm so
No,
sorry. But
no,
we do
yeah.
have Dylan Falco waiting on the other side of our podcast microphone. So welcome, Dylan. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Thanks
Hello.
for joining in on the podcast. We are joined in by Finn and Skyyart alongside today's interview. And how's your day going so far? I know it's the evening right now for Berlin.
Yeah, it's going okay. Schedule's been a bit long because we played like I think it was 2 days this weekend with 1 day between, so we had a lot of scrims this week. But it was a good weekend, right? We won all our games, so it's nice.
Good for 0. And you guys don't have games coming up for next week because it's going to be the KC Roadshow, right? So you guys going to play extra scrims that week?
Yeah, we're just going to scrim a lot, and then I guess we have the EWC qualifiers the next week, and then one LEC match. So honestly, it's great because we didn't have that many scrims coming into the season. Like I think first 2 weeks we only had like 4 or 5 days total, which isn't too much to prepare for a season. So it'll be nice for us to do a bit of catch up to get some time to actually start ramping up the practice again, for sure.
Yeah, and I am aware that G2 wasn't getting that many scrims, but would you guys say that currently, because G2 had a bit of a shaky start to the split 2, I'm sure Finn can add more on this, that the lack of scrims plus the first stand fatigue is somehow affecting the team in a way? Because we're seeing this international phenomenon pretty much across most teams that attended the event in Brazil. So just from your own personal perspective, how much of a strain has that put on yourself?
Yeah, I think people used to call it the MSI hangover. That was a classic. Come back from summer split, and all the MSI teams would just chain lose. And it's honestly pretty normal. It's not the first time. You just don't have much time break with the current modern schedule, so you have to sacrifice something. And if the sacrifice is the first week or two of the regular season, then that's what it has to be. I still think we could have done a little bit better. I think some of our drafting and play was like almost enough to get some wins in those first couple weeks, so I definitely have some regrets. But personally, internally, we're not super concerned.
Yeah, I have a question actually. Did you get
Yeah.
kind of jump scared by the sudden meta shift when you got back, or was this something that you anticipated already during first stand? Because to me it felt quite sudden that suddenly the Ashe Seraphine, the Lulu lanes were just like being played everywhere all the time.
Well, at first then we were the ones playing those every single game.
Yeah.
So
They're jump scaring them.
I kind of feel like maybe we jump scared everybody, and then
Yeah,
it
that's
just
possible.
evolved a bit. People were just a bit sharper about how they drafted them here back in Europe because it was like, oh, they probably watched us. They watched how we were drafting the Seraphine, the Ashe, around Lulu, all those lanes, all the interactions, right? What junglers are good with it, against it, what order, when you trade them, when you don't. And they're probably just sitting at home scrimming all that stuff while we're debuting it there. So it's natural that when we come back, they have like a couple new tricks up their sleeve that we had to maybe adapt to a little bit.
Ashe Seraphine OP on my side.
Yeah, it's very, at least stats wise, it's very winning. So it's doing quite good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Are you
do
guys
see a
falling
lot of
into
people
the? Oh.
picking. Oh, Finn, would you like to continue?
No, I was just curious. Are you guys falling into like the weird rabbit holes of like finding answers to these champions, or are you just like gonna
Well,
just we're gonna practice our own stuff and just do
like
what
like
is
of course,
working?
of course, it
Yeah.
works two ways, right? Like you identify. Let's say
The
you
secret
identify a
sauce.
combo like Ashe Seraphine. You have to think about like, do you want to counter the double combo? Or do you want to split them up when you're on red side and you can take one or the other? If you need to pick one on blue side, do you want to pick Ashe or do you want to pick Seraphine? Because then they can split the combo, which is better.
Mhm.
And you might try a counter to one of them and it works, doesn't work. You can ban it. So you have to investigate all of those different options and then ultimately decide on what's best to actually win on stage, right? And if the other team
It
has a
always
better
feels like an
understanding of that, it's like, yeah.
It always feels like an arms race to me. Like
It
whoever
is.
can
It
find
is.
the answer the best. It's like a time is just ticking and everyone is looking to find the best counter to it.
But it's always like that. Like, for example, you're at the World Championships and it's like every team is just playing Kiana Rise over and over and over and over again in scrims. And if you're the team that either knows how to pick it or you're the team that comes up with an answer to it, you just get this huge advantage in the draft phase. That used to be like even bigger before Fearless, because if the entire, let's say the entire meta was based on Counter Rise, and then like we played Anivia, we played Mundo Jungle against that stuff, right? And we won all the games we did that, which then got used for the rest of the tournament. But if you're the team who did that in the old meta, you could just win a whole series based off that, because they wouldn't be able to pick their combos that they practice the whole week. But then you go to the next game, you look in Counter Rise, they don't have the answer, and then all of a sudden they can't win, you know?
Yeah. I think drafter is very important, and I feel like when you have to adapt very quickly, sometimes you don't have the time to do enough screams to test enough things. So you have to think about it, and your experience will come in this kind of time. So
yeah, for sure. And like the metas kind of cycle sometimes. Like you have a little Ash meta coming in, and I've drafted a lot of Ash metas back in the day, so you have some ideas at least of the sort of stuff that can work in those types of games. Sometimes it's not the same as it was before, but you can definitely grow in your experience a lot in those cases.
Definitely the same. And we recently got leaks, or not really leaks, Riot Games quite literally announced it themselves about the Season 2 changes. And there were some pretty scary stats coming in for Season 2. And the most notable ones that I took note of was the AP Ezreal changes, which, as Dylan was saying, things cycle. And we've definitely lived through an AP Ezreal meta back in the day. However, Ezreal is a little bit different these days. Plus, alongside some Zeri changes, where she will be getting a bunch of AP mixed into her current stats and damage. So, anything that stands out to you as we approach Season 2 for competitive as well?
Like I really only look at the changes once we're actually playing on them in our live patch.
It's too confusing.
Because like it's a bit confusing. Sometimes you can check to see what they nerf, because then like if they're nerfing a champ next patch, that means that it's probably OP on your current patch. Like that's a little trick that we have sometimes. Because sometimes there'll be a champ that nobody really plays, and it's like, oh, they're really nerfing it next patch. Maybe they have some data. They know something. Riot knows something we don't. But for changes like that, I'll just notice when they actually bring it to us. I think at least like the random AP builds and stuff, I like that they're adding all of those back into the game. Like I miss the old days of AP Tryndamere and AP Mr. Yi and all of those, all that troll stuff in the game. I used to love playing.
I played against AP Mystery competitively back in the day. I don't miss it actually. It was no CC, game lost.
but I do notice when we add those to the game, like AP Aurelia, for example, like these days, they usually make them pretty weak. Like they've been balancing them so they're like not actually OP. It's more like just troll. Yeah. But like I'd be down to make them strong as well. I think it's fun. Also, they just don't make things OP anymore. Like the overall balance philosophy of Riot in the past couple of years is so much more like they keep everything at okay level. Man, back in the day, there used to be champs that were so broken, and they would just keep cycling them like on purpose. They don't really do that.
Yeah.
And I also did see, I think it was the most recent game-changing item change for Season 2. I know Dylan hasn't seen this, but it was Static Shiv. And because we were talking about AP/on hit, they did this like weird change where Static Shiv would proc onto 4 champions, I believe, and it would apply any on hit stat, aka either champion passive that does like the 3 stack, like or was it Echo, and also any item on hit like Heart Steel. So then what do we think about this, since that's going to be quite annoying for the next season?
I'm convinced it's not making it to live. I looked through, I think I would look down, like I fell down the rabbit hole of the new Static Shiv, and I looked at all the interactions, and I've seen too many absolutely absurd interactions with that item, especially when you combine Static Shiv and Dusk and Dawn.
Yeah.
Because Static Shiv applies your on hit to all units it hits, and then Dusk and Dawn makes that apply twice. So that's when you run into some really, really, really funky stuff. One thing that I instantly got flashbacks from when I saw the item, I thought about that era where we played top lane on hit LeBlanc, like the Triforce LeBlanc. The fact that they made like Static Shiv AP. I just got nightmares laning against LeBlancs with like Fleet or whatever they would go back then, and then rushing Static Shiv Triforce and just kiting me for like 10 minutes when I was playing Cassandra and I couldn't touch them a single time. So I'm scared, and I really hope it doesn't make it through in this state, because I think it's gonna be an absolute nightmare for some champion-specific interactions.
I'm sure
Uh,
G2 will probably cook
yeah.
something
Yeah.
up with all these
Yeah.
changes.
The mid lane version, the mid lane version was even the last couple of years, no? The LeBlanc Shiv 80 stuff.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
I don't miss it. I don't miss it. Was it Voltaic as well? People ran it. I don't remember
don't
actually.
know. Yeah.
I think we already cooked because we played Varus on it and Kog'Maw on it as well, and I think it's maybe two of the champions that will maybe be happy of this kind of change. So actually, I liked that you went on this path, which is not taken by so many teams. Were you surprised about Vayne top and like Anivia top, Anivia coming mid, even not against Rise, because actually people somehow realized that the world was pretty strong, or you expected it?
Like, are you talking about all the range top laners being played now these days?
I mean,
Yeah.
Anivia mid as well, Anivia support.
Yeah.
I mean, basically Anivia coming into the meta in Vayne.
Well, Anivia was a pocket pick from us for many years. So, right, we played it into Rise like a couple times a few years
Yes.
ago at MSI, and then we
The LG,
were the
yeah.
first to play it at Worlds last year into Rise. It's just like a known counter through history, so we just did it. So I wasn't surprised because we were the ones doing it first on that one. As for the range tops, when they initially got rid of lane swap, and gave top TP with combat summoner, my initial reaction was eventually people would start playing like the complete lane stomp top laners again, and I saw no reason why it wouldn't develop to that, because that's where the meta was going before we again our team started like swapping like every single game to try and counter that strategy. And I was actually shocked that for the first months and months, like 3-4 months of the year, that nobody really was doing that. So now that it's happening now, I'm not surprised. It's just, I think it's just natural when you make those changes to top lane.
Okay. Is there any reason you didn't push this more heavily internally with G2? Because I don't really associate BB with playing a lot of range champions. I mean, he does play a few.
Yeah, we tried that a bit in scrims, but like it wasn't really it just wasn't really the meta at the time. Everyone was just playing tanks and bruisers, so we just kind of went along with it. It was more some experiments in like December and like the beginning of the year when they first changed it. So
Yeah,
fair enough.
no more Lee Sin, please. I'm not a fan of Lee Sin top.
I was actually
Time
I was playing a bit of Lee Sin myself the other day, and you feel
Okay.
very strong. You feel very, very strong.
Lucky, it is strong.
for the
I
early
vouch
game.
for it.
Yeah.
Lee Sin top is
But
so
then
fun as well.
But then it's very
He's so
fun and
strong.
you but then at a certain point, like I forgot what I was playing against. I was playing against like a Singe or some bruiser, and I was like up like 50 CS in the head, and then he just started winning against me 1v1, and I was really confused. I was like, wait, so I don't think the scaling is that good.
Did you go for the vamp build with the Ravenous? Or did
Yeah.
you
I did the vamp build.
Yeah, the vamp build really falls off. I've played it so much as well. You
Okay,
still
that
use it
makes
three
sense, yeah.
items.
Yeah.
Finn was cooking up this like weird Gnar build because we were theorizing how do you play Gnar into Vayne, because that's going to be probably one of the most popular matchups coming into the next couple of weeks. And Finn said that you should build Edge of Night on Gnar because Vayne can't escape if she wants to condemn you, and maybe that's something we can sell BB on if he ever meets.
I did not say it
this
would
type
work
of
in
match.
competitive, because you wouldn't
I'm not
reach
sure
Edge of
What
Night.
if, you know?
You wouldn't
I'm not
reach
sure
Edge
that's
of
a
Night
competitive
before you're
build, but-
100 CS down.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And I did want to ask, because this is quite the discussed topic at the moment, and it's something that Riot is trying to integrate into the entire ecosystem of League of Legends, which is WASD. And as competitive frogs of us, I know everyone plays with a keyboard and a mouse, but I wanted to kind of pick apart your brains on this specific topic and how WASD could potentially be integrated into competitive pro in, let's say, hopefully 10 years, 20 years that League of Legends esports is still alive, could make the difference between PC, mouse, vs WASD. What do you think, Dylan?
So I think that I am generally, like, as a coach and someone who's really interested in League, like, I'm a fan of anything that makes a game bigger, that brings more people to the game, that brings more viewership, does anything. be willing to sacrifice a lot with regards to competitiveness or purity or whatever you want to call it. So like overall, from like a base level, I'm down for them to experiment with stuff like this if they think it will bring more players. Like if you get the game on console at some point and it was working and functional, like that's fine. I do think like there's definitely a couple issues. I think the first is that like if you actually made it like proper, like not just four directions, like all directions with like no lag, on auto attacks, it would just be superior. Like if you could control with your left hand in an analog stick or something, and then use your mouse with your right hand and have two analog controls with no delay, like you could just move and kite and do everything way more accurately with way more reaction time, which definitely would change the fabric of the game a lot. But it seems like that's not what they're going for at all. It seems like they're just trying to make it, it's not the best way to play the game, but if you want to onboard yourself to League playing like that, it's fine. It's pretty nerfed, from what I understand, the way they have it. And so I'm down. I'm down for that. So no issues with it. It's probably not that good though if they have it so heavily nerfed.
Let them cook, because this WASD discussion has been going on for ages, and it's not Riot's first time saying, "Oh, we're just trying. It's not going to come to competitive," and then in 3 years, they're like, "Actually, it's staying, and we're going to introduce it." So I do respect Riot Games trying to do a lot of changes. Yes, Skyyart?
I actually have some XP with WSD because I was playing Battle Right a lot, like 600 hours and more than 400 on Supervive. So I've a bit of experience. Yeah, I love these games actually. I think WSD will not be that much played for melee champions. I think it's just for ranges. So to me, it doesn't look effective if you are a melee champion. It's not that effective for me. But for ranges, I think they have enough data to compare the DPS of WSD with right click, so they can, I think, balance it so it's a little bit less good than great gamers basically, and even they can, I think, try to somehow do some quick math about elo of the person. So I think it can bring new person to the game, because we are old, I think, here, but new person, sometimes I don't like keyboards. So yeah, no, except you, Kitty. I'm old, and I think it can bring new people.
Definitely growing with the game.
Yes. So I think it can onboard new people for sure.
And I guess talking about League of Legends esports and its, how would I say, life expectancy. Dylan, you've been around for a very long time. We've honestly all been around for a very long time. Did you expect League of Legends esports to last till today, where we are right now in season 16?
No way. Like I always think, oh, 3, 4 more years, it'll probably die down and be less than it was before. And in some ways, it is different than it once was. Like it's not like the crazy money and huge sponsorships and all the hype. But if you actually just look, like still getting a ton of viewers for the finals, still getting a ton of viewers for Worlds. It feels like, as much as maybe it's not the same as it was before, it's just every time I say 3 more years, it seems fine 3 years later. So it definitely has some legs.
And
I'm confident.
Yeah.
Confidence? Faker resign till 2029. We all got this in the bag, guys. But I saw this discussion going around Twitter. Does League of Legends and their game developers update the game too often? Because I did see some people complaining about this, but I also do think that argument goes into why League of Legends is still so relevant, and the transparency that the game developers have with its fan base helps so much with fan feedback and adjusting things fast enough, where I personally think we're quite spoiled. But from your perspective, let's start with Finn and then Sky and then Dylan. What do you guys think? Is League of Legends, are we spoiled with the frequent game patches, or what's going on?
I mean, I think we are. I think, to me, what makes competitive League of Legends so cool and so unique compared to almost any other sport, any other esport, is that adaptability is such a crucial skill. You need to be able to adapt to the changes that are happening. It's also why it's very brutal to be a pro player in League of Legends, just because you don't really get time off. Like when I was competing, I would take 4-5 days off after the split ended, and then I'll just start grinding solo queue because you can't afford to take too much time off because it will be a different game when you come back. And the fact that adaptability is such a crucial skill and so ingrained into the League of Legends ecosystem, I think it's one of its strengths and why it has lasted this long. I don't think it's a problem at all, and I think if anything, I think Riot balancing team is doing a really good job. And I know they get a lot of flack around the globe or whatever, people like to complain, but the fact that they've kept the game so well balanced that competitive is still in a really good spot, I would say. There's a lot of flexibility compared to if we go back 10 years where we saw the same champions played every single game.
Mhm.
I think they've done a fantastic job in that regard, and I think it should be celebrated, the fact that we have these constant patches that are actually being done by a competent team.
Yeah, I'm 100% agree. I think people will always complain when it comes to balancing because people will never. I mean, everyone gonna be
Twitter
happy.
be like,
But
mm-hmm.
yes, but I think it's actually very nice. And for me, the Fearless Draft is bringing so much new energy, new champions, and I think adaptability is a bit linked to I would say intelligence or brain. And I think what's I feel is nice in League is you have different ideas fighting each other's. The belief of what we think is the meta, the belief of what LPL we think about the meta, and I think it's what's bring why it's why I enjoy international events so much, and I think it's why many viewers will come in the big finals, in the big events to see what's happening now. So I love it.
Yeah, I think like from like a balance standpoint, I think they do a great job actually. I think they've gotten a lot better throughout the years of making so many different things viable. You can go to solo queue, play whatever. I do kind of, like I said before, I kind of miss the days where there was just random OP stuff and it was changing all the time. What was completely broken,
Mel's
like
OP now
just like the tank
40%
echo
banner.
running around for a month that was
Mm.
like terrorizing, and then everyone was spamming that build, and then they'd make 80 carries broken for a patch, and then assassins, and it would just. I did feel like there was that certain dynamic nature, like the Aurelia Aatrox times where just like mid lane just changed and it was just all assassins killing each other. I kind of miss that. I feel like as like a competitor, we don't have that thing where like for a few months it's just very centralized meta you need to figure out, and then there's a new puzzle. Like we're kind of more in an evergreen stage where a lot of the pro champions are like similar through year to year to year, and it's more about really understanding that. But I guess you have like the Seraphine stuff now and Lulu stuff, but like I kind of miss the old days of OP stuff a bit.
Of course, and since we're talking about old metas, Dylan, which one was your personal favorite meta throughout season 1 to season 16? You can only choose one meta. Which one would you
Oh.
settle with? That was your absolute favorite to watch, play, whatever.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. So many good ones. I'm just trying to think.
I'll
I'm
give
trying
you
to think
two
of like,
if you want to do two.
but yeah, like I feel like I guess some of them that are the most memorable. I did not like the Ardent meta at Worlds 2017. That one was not great. I think that one was
That was
very
cringe.
degenerate. If you had better bot lane, you would just push and get the wards and win the game. I think that was not too good. I think 2018 Worlds was very fun with the Akali Aatrox Irelia meta. That one was very very fun. It was very solo lane focused. I like that one a lot. Hmm. Yeah, 2018 Worlds was a good one for sure. I think 2019 Worlds also. I think that was what that was like. That was with the Kiana Silas TF thing, or was it the year after? I think that one
Yeah.
was a very fun one as well.
It wasn't a lot of TF 2019, but I was also gonna give a shout out to 2019 summer because that was like
Yeah,
it's also very memorable for me because that was like the first time I played LEC and went a little bit far. But it was like a lot of these Aatrox, Akali, Sylas still. There was the residual from the 2018. But it was also the time where we had Garen Yumis running around. We had Mordekaiser
yeah,
Renekton, Shojin Renekton just going psycho mode when he's ulting, just stunning people permanently. There was so many. Pantheon as well was really open at Worlds. I remember. I think it was permabanned 2019. So I think 2019 summer was really fun, especially from a solo lane perspective. Aatrox was still really strong. Aatrox Renekton being played every single game. A lot of skill matchups. I thought that was really fun to play in, at least.
Sure.
Okay, Skyyart.
Maybe I will have a different opinion, but I think Fearless Draft, I like it. I think it's when it goes to BO5, you have such crazy ideas coming in. Maybe sometimes the games are a bit one-sided then, but I feel it's very entertaining for the viewers and for maybe not for the coaches. I don't know, but for us, it's entertaining.
No, it's very fun to coach in Fearless for sure. You definitely have a lot more agency over a best of series and what happens than you did before. That's for sure.
Guys, what do we do for a 0 versus Corky game 4s and 5? I can imagine.
I remember draft meetings
much
of like,
better.
do you want to play Orianna versus Syndra or Syndra versus Orianna? And you'd argue about that for like hours.
Is this 2020 spring?
No, this is like, I don't know. There's many years of that, and that would be the big draft argument for like.
I guess time is a
And
flat
now
circle.
it's-
Because I've had this exact same argument.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And I guess for myself, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I like a lot of metas as well. However, I hate one specific meta, and it was Banner of Command with Z0 plus Baron buff. I think that was so unfun to play against. It was so easy to pull off, and it was whoever that got 2,000 gold just won the game plus Baron buff. So that one's definitely my least favorite. I do want to talk about something that G2 like to do a lot during their spare time, which is playing Werewolf. You guys play Werewolf pretty much in 90% of your videos on the G2 vlog channel. And I personally wanted to ask, because for all the people that don't know back at home, Werewolf is, I'm going to dumb it down for myself, a board game that is similar to Among Us, to all the people that played Among Us back in COVID. It's a bit more complex, you have different roles, and it's a bit more interactive. It's person to person, you have to talk amongst yourselves, and it's pretty much having an emergency meeting every couple, I believe 5 minutes. But of course, Dylan, I want to ask, who is the best player in Werewolf out of all staff in Team and G2? You're allowed to say yourself.
I think if you asked, honestly, I think if you asked the 10 of us that play who the best player of Werewolf is, I think people would say me. I actually think.
Okay.
Not to be cocky, but I believe that.
I don't know. I respect the honesty.
I'm also the one who encourages to get the game. I love playing games like that. I like the strategy aspect of it, like lying, and I always try and come up with very elaborate, creative lies to try and win. That's my style.
Very devious.
I love the game so much. I hosted the show for 3 years in France, and I'm also writing one Werewolf game, I would say. So nice. I love the game. I will come to Berlin. I love it. So would love to. It's nice. It's a great game.
I think League players are drawn to that kind of game as well. I remember doing 2020 Worlds during the quarantine, when everyone was just sitting in the quarantine, hating their lives, playing scrims. You started canceling scrims and you started playing like Werewolf or Among Us with each other instead of scrimming, because we were just so depressed. And it really brought up everyone's mood. Everyone was so happy, and I think there's just something nice in that.
It's nice because it also makes people interact with each other. It's light, it's competitive because we're all competitors. It has a bit of interaction. I think it's a good tool, just playing games like that, especially when we have such a stressful, competitive job and situation we all find ourselves in.
This is gonna say a lot about our personalities, but when you do play, let's say, Werewolf, do you like being the werewolf or do you like being the good guy? Which side do you find more fun? Because I personally like being the good guy because I'm terrible at lying. But Dylan,
really?
Since you're the pro out of G2, which role do you love playing?
I'd imagine most people think being a wolf is more fun. I would imagine that's the more common one. At least for me, it's more fun because you get to be creative and come up with lies and stuff like this. But we also play.
The more you play, the more you want to be the wolf, I believe.
But we also play a game where the cards get swapped around, like just lots of switching and swapping. So even if you start as a town, by the end of it, you're not 100% certain that you are still town. So there's always that level of uncertainty, at least in our
One Night Werewolf game.
Yeah.
That one is really good. There's a lot of
play between a scrum, right? Yeah.
Fair enough. And of course, as we finish off the interview, I wanted to ask Dylan, you guys have pretty much 2 weeks for the upcoming LEC spring. What should we expect from G2 and what should we expect from the staff? And what can we see for LEC, I believe, week 7?
Just for us to increase our play steadily, better and better and better. We had an okay weekend. We won our games, but the opponents were not the strongest. And we just want to ramp up to playoffs and hopefully win again, right? We're G2, so it's amazing because you work with the best team, but anything less than first is like a disappointment, right? So we hope we can do it again and win another trophy.
Thank you so much, Dylan. I appreciate the chat with you. And of course, I'm sure Finn and Skyyart enjoyed our interview as well. Have an amazing rest of the day and make sure to rest and stay hydrated. Thank you, Dylan.
Thanks. Okay. See ya. Thanks. It was fun.
Bye. Keep being devious. Okay, so I hope we learned a lot from Dylan. I actually had a lot of fun in that interview section. So this is going to be towards the end of our guest segment. Finn, Skyyart, thank you so much for joining me today on today's episode. Let's tell the fans, where can we find you and what will you be doing in this upcoming weekend, starting with Finn?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I stream twitch.tv FinnLol.
X.com.
X.com, of course. Also FinnLol. I work the LEC broadcast, so keep tuned for the English broadcast. I work almost every weekend, and we're now going to the next roadshow in Paris, so stay tuned.
I'm not in the show, but I will co-stream the LEC LCK and just try to enjoy my life from a very old player. And I think with the reset of the MMR, I will check what happened, because I'm curious about how will they try to change the Elo system, because it was inflating a lot. So how they will try to fix it. I'm curious how they will try to do it. So I will try to check.
I'm praying for amazing LP gains, plus 30s and 50s across the board, as the LP system will be resetting soon, especially for Finn. I currently see he's sweating when the ladder resets. He needs to play. We need to let him go, guys. He needs to go grind and unwash himself. So thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate your time, of course. And have an amazing rest of the day.
Ciao.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
So that is our